Joyce and Strickland and James Russell Healy met at the Oregon University in Washington and got married in 1949 at Joyce's family house. Their first child, Lynda Ann Healy, was born on July 3, 1952. The son Robert was born 2 years later, and in 1957 their second daughter Laura was born. When Lynda was 10 years old, they moved together to Seattle, settling into the Newport Hills area of Bellevue. Lynda was a beautiful young woman. She had long auburn hair and blue eyes. Lynda was described by her relatives and friends as smart, self-confident, responsible, and full of life. She loved the theater and was very interested in photography. She had her own camera and carried it with her really often. She was musically talented, loved singing, and could sing all the time. She even sang in the university choir. It wasn't like she sang a song just once. She could sing the same thing over and over, walking around the house, getting ready in the bathroom, and setting the table. Lynda's sister Laura said in the documentary from 2020 Falling for a Killer. Laura also recalls that their parents had a small boat that housed all 5 of them and their dog. Lynda taught her to water ski. Laura described her sister as someone who lit up a room with her mere presence. Joanne Testa, one of Lynda's roommates, said, "Lynda was one of the first people I met. Certainly the first person I spent any time with. And I can't explain the welcome embrace that I received from her. I think we both knew within a day or two that we were going to be very dear friends. We were together all the time, excited about the world and life. We had late-night conversations all of the time about what we wanted to be, what we wanted to do. She was just vibrant. There's not a room she walked into that didn't light up. She was beautiful." In 1974, Lynda was on her final year of psychology at the University of Washington and was considered as an above-average student, popular with other students. During her studies, Lynda lived off campus in Seattle with 4 roommates: Joanne Testa, Ginger Heath, Monica Sutherland, and Karen Skavlem. The university where Lynda attended was only 20 minutes walk from her home. She got up at 5:30 every day to go to work at Northwest Ski Reports, where she was earning extra money. Many people associated her with presenting ski reports and information about weather on the morning radio station. Lynda's dream job was working with disabled children, and even before graduating from university she was already a volunteer in an institution dedicated to children with special needs. January 31, 1974 passed peacefully and normally for Lynda. After work-in classes, she planned afternoon classes for the university choir. At 5 p.m. her roommate picked her up from campus and the two ate lunch with other friends. The next day, Lynda's parents and brother were coming to visit her for dinner, and she wanted to prepare something special for them. So after lunch, she borrowed her roommate's car to go to the grocery store. She returned home around 8:30 p.m. and went to Dante's Tavern for a beer with her roommates. Dante's was a popular bar among students in Seattle's University District in the 1970s, and has now closed permanently due to a fire a few years ago. In previous weeks, Lynda had complained of stomach pain, but friends described her as energetic, talkative, and feeling well that evening. At the pub, Lynda and her friends talked about various topics, including psychology and music. They got home around 10 p.m. because Pete, one of Lynda's friends who was with her at the pub at the time, had to catch the bus home, which left at 9:41 p.m. Joanne Testa offered Lynda help with making dinner for her parents, so before going to her room around 11:30 p.m. Lynda came to Joanne's room to discuss and plan it. Around midnight, Lynda went to her room in the basement, and that was the last time Joanne saw her. Joanne had a bedroom on the main level by the kitchen. Other roommates, Ginger and Monica, slept upstairs, while Lynda and Karen shared the basement. Karen remembers that before she went to sleep that night, she locked the side door. No one heard any sounds from Lynda's room all night. The next morning, February 1st, 1974, at 5:30 a.m., Lynda's alarm went off as usual, but no one turned it off. As the alarm continued to ring, Karen went into Lynda's room to turn it off. The room was empty and the bed was neatly made. However, her absence did not worry Karen. She assumed that Lynda had already gone to work, so she simply turned off the alarm and started getting ready to leave herself. At 6 a.m. the phone rang. The radio station where Lynda worked called and asked Karen where Lynda was because she didn't show up for work. This wasn't like Lynda. Her friend recalled that she was 15 minutes late for work one day and felt terrible about it. It wasn't like her to miss work. Kathleen McChesney, a King County police detective who later investigated her disappearance, said she remembers the morning Lynda disappeared very well because she regularly listened to her morning ski report and remembers someone on the air saying that Lynda didn't come to work that day. That was very unusual because she was a person you relied on 5 days a week to tell you what was going on in the mountains, McChesney said in the documentary. Then Karen discovered the side door, which she closed before going to bed, was unlocked. The bike Lynda rode to work was also still there. The roommates began to worry, but didn't report the disappearance to the police. They decided to wait until 6 p.m. for Lynda's parents to arrive. They also hoped that Lynda would be back by then. When Lynda's parents came for dinner, their daughter still hadn't returned. Joyce, Lynda's mother, immediately called the police and reported her disappearance. The police officer they were talking to tried to defuse the situation by saying that Lynda might just went to meet her boyfriend or something like that. Only the second policeman who approached them asked to see Lynda's room. The room was in an extraordinary order. Her bed was neatly made, which wasn't typical for Lynda. When she got up early for work, she left her bed unmade because she was in a hurry and she had to leave the house very quickly. Her jeans, shoes, pillowcase, and a backpack were missing. After the bedsheet was exposed, Detective Pat Murphy noticed a bloodstain on the sheets. At first Joanne thought Lynda had terrible nosebleed during the night, but she quickly realized there was too much blood for that. A nightgown was found in a wardrobe stained with blood around the neck, which could indicate a serious head wound. Everything pointed to the fact that someone had broken into the house, harmed the sleeping Lynda, dressed her in clothes she wore the day before and took her away. Lynda's sister Laura recalls that their parents Joyce and James worked very hard after their daughter's disappearance. They offered $1,000 reward for any information leading to her safe return and hired a private detective, but all leads he had reached dead ends. Lynda's mom was involved in whatever she could do to find out what happened to her daughter. It was hard for us to even talk about her, Laura said in the documentary Falling for a Killer. To bring her up caused so much pain for my mother. It's almost like we had to forget her completely. You can't remember the good times, because that causes pain. So you forget. Laura said that they didn't only lost Lynda, but also memories. They couldn't reminisce because it was too painful. There was a hole bigger than the loss of Lynda, the whole of the happy times of their family. Unfortunately, the investigation revealed nothing and more girls began to disappear without a trace. The girls were very similar to each other. They were young, beautiful, and had hair parted in the middle. Moreover, just a month before Lynda's disappearance, there was an attack on 18-year-old Karen Sparks. The girl was terribly mauled, but she survived. The attack was very similar to the circumstances of Lynda's disappearance. The police began to suspect that one man was responsible for all these events. More than a year after her disappearance, on March 3, 1975, Lynda's jawbone was found on Taylor Mountain, the burial site of several of Bundy's victims. The police were able to positively identify the mandible by comparing it against her dental records. Serial killer Ted Bundy confessed to murdering Lynda shortly before his execution. He said that he found the front door open, which is interesting, considering that the roommate locked it, hit her on the head with a crowbar and carried unconscious body to the back seat of his car and drove her to secluded location, Taylor Mountain. There's a few other connections between Lynda and Ted Bundy. 1. Ted Bundy lived very close to Lynda. 2. Bundy's cousin, 𝙃𝙀𝘼𝙇𝙔, was living with two of Lynda's previous roommates and was also a student at University of Washington. 3. He was visiting the store where Lynda went shopping to on the day of her disappearance. 4. In 1972, Bundy and Lynda attended the same university and both studied psychology there. At the time of Lynda's disappearance, Bundy attended night classes at the University of Puget Sound Law School on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Lynda disappeared on Thursday night, while Bundy was having a day off. Some sources say Lynda may have been followed weeks before her death, possibly by Bundy. The roommate testified that 2 months before her disappearance, Lynda had confided to her that a man who had arrived in an orange pickup truck had started peeping through the windows of the laundry room where she was alone. Later he went inside, with no clothes to wash, and acted strange. He didn't even speak to Lynda, but the incident scared her. Then, a month before Lynda's disappearance, when her roommate Monica Sutherland was alone at the house, she heard a dog barking. When she looked out the window, she saw a man standing on the lowest step of the stairs that led to the front door. He was holding the dog by the neck and fiercely shaking it. Monica ran outside, the neighbors were yelling at him, and the man said that the dog attacked him and then he ran away. Unfortunately, we will never know if in both cases we are dealing with the future murderer of Lynda. It's not known if they ever met, and it is unknown whether Bundy randomly chose her as his victim or on purpose. The course of events from that unfortunate night, most often reported in the media, is as follows. Bundy was at the pub at the same time as Lynda and her friends. He followed them home. He waited until everyone in the house was asleep, broke in and attacked Lynda. He hit sleeping Lynda in the head with something heavy, took off her pajamas, put on the clothes from the night before, made her bed and carried her to his car. It is not known whether Lynda was still alive when she left the house, but Ted Bundy claimed he killed her in the mountains, where her remains were later found. Memorial set for Lynda was held on March 9, 1975 in the Eastgate Congregational Church in Bellevue. Lynda's family announced that donations in her name will be made to the Explorer Search and Rescue Units Foundation, which supports the Boy Scouts of America. Lynda's father James died in 1998 and her mother Joyce in 2020. Lynda is buried with her parents on the Sunset Hills Memorial Park. Lynda died on February 1, 1974 at the age of 21. If she was alive, she would be 72 years old today.